Hello everybody, I'm Len Miller and welcome to this week's episode of Firepunk Fridays. For those of you that would rather listen to this in audio form, it is also available on Spotify and Amazon Music. So feel free to look us up on there if you would rather just hear it in audio form. But this week we've got another busy week around here at the shop. Seems like it's just never quite able to catch up. But that's always a good thing. Kind of a summer of a good bit of transition. It seems like we're kind of always growing into new spaces and changing processes, and yeah, just part of a growing business, I guess. But it's really been pretty good summer for us here, with not near as much racing as what we've done in past summers. You thought maybe it'd be a laid back summer, but seems like summer is always a lot more full than you anticipate it to be. Kids started back to school today, so I guess summer is officially over, and kind of looking forward to some of this fall weather. And we've had a nice treat of cooler weather the past really at least solid week here now. We've had highs in the upper 70s and had some really nice evenings, 60 degrees sitting on the porch in the evening. So I enjoy that, and able to slow down a little bit and actually enjoy life. But coming up on Shide here next week, and pretty excited about that. Weren't really sure how Shide was going to look when they transitioned it over to Wagler, but that's really turned into a pretty cool event. They've done a lot to make that what it is. Put in a really nice pulling track there, big campground area, lots of camping that goes on there. So the thing I really like about it is it's one of the few venues that you go that like everything is just compacted kind of all into one area, small area. You can walk a couple hundred feet and go from the racetrack over to the sled pull track, and there's a lot of action. So, and in between the racetrack and the sled track, they have the big vendors area, so lots of diesel related stuff to look at there. Anything from your favorite t-shirt vendor to diesel parts, and then there's lots of good food there as well. So looking forward to that coming up next week. Once again, going to be a little bit different for us, not having the S10 there to race. So Levon's planning to race 670, and our other guys that race 590 and the index classes will be there as well. And we plan to pretty much roll out with a full crew and just be there to be able to support customers and have a good time, and hopefully eat some good food and watch some fast racing and some sled pulling, and we always look forward to going to the racetrack and interacting with friends and customers. So looking forward to that next week. And that always brings a little bit of extra work around here, just trying to get some projects ready for that. I believe we're still trying to get Hunter Coffee's truck finished up to go to Shide. That is a 2006 single cab truck that we just put an enforcer in it, and we're building a big set of Garrett compound turbos for it. I believe it's a 98 over an 85. So that should be a really fun truck, more of a street truck. And then I think they're hoping to race that in 670 for the time being. And then I think they also have a couple of other trucks that they'd like to do some more racing with in the future. So plenty on our plate to get that truck finished up yet. We've got a couple of other projects going on in the fab shop. Lots of work to do. But this evening, going to have a conversation with Travis Groblebe. For those of you that don't know who Travis is, he was a big part of Competition Diesel, the forum back in the day, which Competition Diesel is still an active forum, just not near as active as it used to be. So if anybody is interested in good diesel info and likes to do some digging, there's still lots of good reading there. But you'll hear us talking about lots of races from days gone by and kind of how diesel racing has evolved. But so here's Travis, and hope you all enjoy our conversation. All right, Travis Groblebe, what's going on, man?
Nothing. Nobody calls me that.
You know,
That's so funny.
I know Travis G, Groblebe, whatever you want to call him. Yeah.
That's right.
So I kind of felt good about my, nice gray beard until I saw the real beard, I guess.
Yeah, it's just a little humid here today. We got a bunch of rain today, so
Yeah.
Joy hates it. So that's why I'm keeping it.
Cool. Well, so for those, we'll just not to say that you're an old timer or a has been, but for those that don't know who you are, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Man, I'm just a guy who kind of, I don't know, had a diesel pickup and lived in St. Louis and kind of met some guys and started running around with them. And next thing you know, we're brush pulling all over Missouri. And man, I'm not a has been. I'm a never was. That's for sure.
I don't know about that.
I just, I got lucky and I got to run around and help out a whole bunch of really awesome dudes.
Yeah.
Kind of got to watch this sport grow from,
right,
I don't know, a bunch of rednecks in the woods to now rednecks at kind of big pulling tracks and race tracks and stuff,
there are some days I feel like we've grown up a little bit, and then other days I'm like, yep, we're still rednecks.
Oh yeah, there's some hill jack stuff out there still for sure.
So you came into the diesel scene, I mean, early on, really. When did you first start messing with trucks? And when was it?
Oh,
the heyday of your era, I guess.
Man, I don't. We kind of always had diesel trucks for work and stuff. And then, in Missouri, you would hear about guys that were turning up these pumps, and you would see pulling tractors and stuff. And you'd be like, well, that's the same pump as in this old truck. And you started hearing stories about guys doing that, and then a company TST up in Indiana started selling stuff, and it just kind of steamrolled from there. It went from you were grinding plates off and putting these big goofy injectors in, and then your transmission didn't work, and just kind of bloomed from there. I got married in 2001. Yeah, got to get that right. And Joy and I moved to St. Louis, and I met a couple guys, a guy named Jeremy Homeyer, a guy named Ray Gullett. Jeremy and I would go street racing down on Hall Street in St. Louis, and that was back in the day of the Nextel phone, the beep beep.
Beep beep.
And it'd be like 12:31 in the morning, and the phone would go beep beep, and my wife would say, "Hey, you guys are headed to Hall Street," and she wasn't wrong. That's where we were. And then everybody kept talking. I knew a lot of farm guys over in Illinois, and they would always talk about Shide. Are you going to Shide? And I'm like, what is this? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, you got to go to Terre Haute. And then I went to Terre Haute, I think the second or third year Dan had that event. Holy cow, I'd never seen anything like it. It's just insane. You were just like, wow, these guys have got way too much money. And then, and even back then they had the drag races, but nothing was really fast.
Right.
I think Dan, they were fast, but not like you guys are now.
Today's terms, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely not that. And I think I can't remember exactly when Dan brought the rail out the first time. And Eric McBride drove that back then. And that was just insane. You were like, holy cow, a diesel with a diesel or a dragster with a diesel engine.
So on the subject of rails, who was the first to put a diesel in a rail? Was it Dan? What were some of the other rails running around back in the day that you remember, I guess? I mean, we're not like official or anything, but
I think Dan's was the first one that I ever saw. John Robinson had a rail for a while.
Well, and he does again now.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, back in the day he had this purple monstrosity.
Yeah.
Holy cow, it was hideous. Sorry if you're watching this, John. John had a rail.
Well, there was that one that had the big DT 466 or something in it.
Oh, the guys from Hypermax, Marty Thacker drove that.
There you go. Yep.
They had that for a while, and it would come out and then go away, and you would hear about it, but you wouldn't see it. And then maybe, boy, they were out for a couple seasons, but that motor was so heavy.
Yeah.
And Marty, he's a great drag racer, but I think that thing was just way too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, John had one, Dan, the Hypermax one. There's been a few back then. There's quite a few more now. Cordova has one.
Yeah. Well, there seems to be quite a few out there that don't make it to the track very much recently, but
I think so.
Hopefully we'll change that here soon, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So more back in the Wayback Machine, those talk about Comp D a little bit. How did that all come about? What was your involvement in that? Those of you that are, I'm going to say 18 and under, probably don't even know what Comp D is. I don't know. But this was, before Facebook was around, at least not near to the level it is now. But I mean, Comp D was, if you were at all cool and into diesels, you were on Comp D.
Yeah, I don't know if we were cool, but we knew some stuff. I can't, telling the story about how Comp D came about, it's not really, that's more of a Phil Baker and a Timbo story. It's a good story, I promise. It involves a truck and a wrestling move, and it's just crazy. But I joined Comp D like right when it came out. I was on all those other ones, TDR. I got thrown off of DTR a million times, and, a bunch of other ones. And then Comp D came around, and so I joined that. Not the first day like a lot of guys, but I joined pretty quick. And just got to be really good friends with, Timbo and Phil and Tim Shearer, Dieter Lutz, Billy Burns, Louis Preston, Chris Watson.
Yeah.
We had a pretty unique group of moderators. There was Tom Colasanti. He's all the way out in California. He's got a pretty fast car now. But I just got to be really good friends with those guys. And, for a long time, if it wasn't on Comp D, it wasn't true. Now, I read stuff on the Faceagram, and it's just ridiculous,
Yeah. Well, and I really hate the way, the format of Facebook versus the forums is just, I don't know. It's not near, if you actually want information, it's not near as handy as what forums used to be. Because, you could search for anything.
Sure.
And you had your people on there that you knew you could trust. And I don't know, it just worked differently. And now on Facebook, it's just like anybody kind of throws anything up and it kind of sticks or it doesn't, or I don't know. Not to say that forums were perfect. You guys were never accused of, the moderators were never accused of being bullies or anything on Comp D. So
I don't know what you're talking about. We had places for, 37s fit on Comp D, but if you just constantly were asking stuff like that, you just weren't going to have a very good time with us. We're going to be nice to you.
Yeah.
And I've met a lot of guys that I was probably mean to on the internet, but I like them just fine. There's just other places for that stuff. And we kind of prided ourselves in telling the truth and telling it how it was, guys would say that they were doing this or that. And there's several guys on Comp D that knew that they weren't doing that.
Yeah.
It was, and it's still an active website. There's not a lot of traffic. Everybody goes to Facebook or stuff like that.
I probably shouldn't talk about it about in past tense, because you are right. Every once in a while I'm like, oh, I'm going to go check Comp D, but it just I don't know. I'm not sure why it's so hard to keep something like that alive. I don't know.
I think it's because there's so many, so many different things to look at. You can go on YouTube and you can look at the Firepunk YouTube page, or the, Diesel World Magazine. There's so many. You can only have so many windows open and still, live your life.
Right.
And we still, all of us are still on Comp D. Roy's always checking it out. Roy knows what's up with Comp D better than anybody, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, we pop in and you see some stuff on there every once in a while, but it's just, it's hard to have that much stuff go on in your life,
Yeah. So let's get into a little bit more. I mean, I guess racing back in the day. Obviously, I mean, you would have been around for like all the Indy 05, 06 kind of stuff. And,
I was. Yeah, I was at.
I mean, that was
I was at all the Indy gong show stuff.
Right. those were good times. Like, really, I think Indy 05 was my first real diesel event that I went to, and it was the same experience you had going to Terre Haute. Like, oh my goodness, had no idea.
Before Indy, there was Thunder in Muncie, which was a pretty amazing deal too. They got that drag strip up there, but the pulling up there was just insane. That was, Dave Mitchell would bring that white Dodge with the flag. Oh, it was just there were people tent camping everywhere, and that was before Indy. But yeah, Indy 05 was insane, and the drag racing was really getting it going. That was when I'd met Jimmy Smith before that, Jimmy and Dale Smith before that, but that was the year that Jimmy blew the motor up on the starting line. With the Grinch, the truck that everybody calls the Grinch.
And that would be the truck that Seth Sullivan raced then, correct?
Yeah. Jimmy and Dale built it. And then Seth started driving it, and then Dale sold it to Seth.
Okay.
And then Seth had it, and I worked on it with those guys, Seth and Micah, for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And now it's in Colorado somewhere, I believe.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, this would be the maroon and green quad cab that Seth raced for quite a few years. Really, I mean, it was the truck to beat for quite some time. I know. Well, at least it seemed like it. Maybe I should say it from my standpoint. When we came into the scene, 2016, I think, was the first that we had the Pro Street truck out. Like, that was the truck we aspired to beat. If you could beat Seth at that time, like, you were doing something right. So, but I mean, so yeah, it had a good long run. If you guys were racing it in 2005 already, I'm sure it evolved quite a bit over time and had a lot of changes, but
05 and 06. I forgot Logan Yeltsin had it too. I try to give credit, I don't want somebody, I don't want Logan mad at me. Logan had it for a while. It was super fast. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that Ashley Black and Sean Proctor still have nightmares about that truck.
I still remember, what year was it at Rudy's that Ashley Black, I mean, just treated him and 60-footed him and had him dead in the water. And on this short little 8th mile track, here comes Seth, just freight trained him on the big end.
Yeah, that Sean Proctor was driving the truck, and that's the race I'm talking about. Poor Sean. That was rough. That was a rough day for those guys.
Yeah, I remember. I was. I mean, that was back before I was cool, and I'm still not cool. But I just still remember being up close to the finish line for that one, and just being like, "Oh my goodness!" He just really drove around him.
Yeah, somebody had I have it somewhere. Somebody had it, and it's on YouTube, I think. Maybe it was Anthony Reams.
Yeah, Reams.
And had like a 360 camera on Seth's truck for that race, and it was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah,
that makes me giggle. But yeah, back then there were, Dennis Perry had he had a whole race team. He showed up, Dennis rolled in big. He had 3 or 4 trucks. Kevin Meredith was driving a truck. Barry drove a truck.
Yeah.
Joe Greathouse,
Hmm.
awesome small tire racer. He drove a truck with Dennis for a while. Yeah, Dennis would roll in big time, and then you had, the Georgia boys, Darren and Mickey and Phyllis, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was, man, we had fun back then. And I don't get to go as much now, but when I do go, it's still fun. But man, we used to have a big time.
It's just different now.
Sure.
I mean, I keep hearing stories of you guys racing in flip flops and, probably doing things you maybe shouldn't have been doing, or.
Yeah. I took Jacob when we lived in Phoenix. Jacob, I don't remember how old he was. He was in a car seat though. He made passes with me all night in the 97. 1150s.
Yeah.
12s back then. Yeah, Jacob rode with me all night. I won't narc out anybody that wore flip flops, but it definitely happened. They were SFI approved though.
Yeah, I hear you. I bet they were.
Olakai and SFI got together and did a collab, as the kids say.
Good stuff.
For sure. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun. We got to go all over the country and do stupid stuff, and and it's evolved into it's amazing to watch. You guys' stuff. Milliken's got that Nova. The old green Nova. It's down in Texas somewhere. It's ridiculous. It's amazing.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've made a lot of progress, and some days you feel like you look at other organizations and you feel like you're not getting the growth that you should or whatever. But I mean, ultimately we're a fairly small sector. There's not just anybody's going to be crazy enough to try to go stupid fast in a diesel when you can do it in, a very proven recipe with any kind of other power adder.
For sure.
But it's, when you have the diesel bug, you kind of have the diesel bug, and it's kind of the only thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a small group of people that want to do it,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember back when we brought the Pro Street truck out, like we had talked to you and Phil and Sam quite a bit, just asking questions. I still look back at that, building the Pro Street truck and what we didn't know, just kind of amazes me, and the things that we've learned since. But I still can see you when we brought that thing to Rudy's and unloaded it out of the trailer. You hopped up in that thing, and I don't know, we had a big old time that weekend revealing the truck.
That was cool. Yeah, I posted the top secret photos on Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, when you guys built that truck, that was cool to watch it, kind of evolve from the very beginning to when you guys quit racing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that would have been like, I just remember the fall before we debuted the truck. Chase Lunsford had gone, I believe it was 560s that fall at Rudy's, like 3 times back to back. And I'm not sure, do you remember what was the fastest that Seth ever went in Grinch? I mean, that
high 60s.
High 60s. Okay.
High 60s, I think.
Right.
If he was here, he would know right off the bat. I would say high 60s. So
right. And I mean, you crewed for him pretty regularly there for a number of years, or just kind of whenever you could help, or
anytime. If I could get out there, I would come help him and Jimmy and I would try to go to every race I could.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say high 60s.
That sounds about right.
Maybe 70s. I don't know. The mile an hour was,
what mile per hour would he run? Like, I know it was fast mile per hour for that time, but do you remember what that would have been?
150s, 160s.
150. Okay.
Yeah, 160. Yeah. And they finally started racing 8th mile, because forever we raced quarter mile. And then people started, deciding, hey, a truck this heavy that's not safe.
Right.
So then they finally started racing 8th mile. But and then a lot of guys joke, Phil and those guys always joke. They were like, "Oh, now we'll race 8 mile. Now we can beat Seth." And then Seth
still figured out how to beat him. Yeah.
he still freight train him every once in a while.
Yeah.
Um,
we need to figure out how to con Phil into getting onto one of these and start telling us some 12 valve, reused bearing stories and all the fun stuff he used to do.
Those are true stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reused bearing, the sanded piston.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are true
Kind of
stories. The stock
truck,
head bolts.
Yeah, stock head bolts, which that was the whole thing. Like, I mean, a lot of that was just in the method of doing it, right? Like, kind of doing it 5 pounds at a time and then letting them rest, and then another 5 pounds, and they torque those things way past what you would think you could, and got by with it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are true stories.
Yeah.
I've seen guys turn barrels on a P pump with the pump on the truck, which is not really how a pump shop does it. They got that fancy test stand and all that, but those are all true stories.
I don't know much about how those pumps work.
It's magic. It's magic. All magic.
Yeah. Fuel goes in and smoke comes out, huh?
Yeah, you got to have a really good EFI live tuner for that, for the 12 valve stuff.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Screwdriver and a socket, and you'll be okay.
That's funny.
You guys have never owned like a P pump truck. Didn't you guys have a P pump shop truck for a minute?
I drove it today. We own a P pump shop truck. Yeah, I ran into somebody in town. I ran into somebody in town, and they're like, "Man, isn't that like a downgrade for you guys?" I was like, "Yeah, just imagine this. Levon Miller owns it. He owns a 12 valve with a P pump."
Time to do some stuff to that thing. You never know. Might make a little power with it.
He says he has to let too many random employees drive it to put any power into it, because then things just get torn up.
That's probably smart on his part.
If you would drive it, you would probably agree with that, because I just was driving it down the road today going, I can turn close to a quarter of a turn before it does much of anything on the steering wheel.
Oh, they're horrible. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Like I had 12 valves, and then I had a second gen. I drove a stock third gen the other day. Mm-hmm. And, it was cool because it's a third gen, but it was a dog.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Now they ride so much nicer, and they got all the fancy buttons and stuff. And
yeah,
it's pretty slick.
I saw you were trying to sell your truck. Do you sell it, or you still got it?
I did sell it. I sold it. Yeah, we got kids going to college, and just might cry a little bit. Yeah, guy from up in Joplin came down and got it. So, and right now prices on used vehicles are ridiculous, so I did well on it.
Yeah, that's good. And that was, what was that, a 19?
18.
18?
Yeah, I got an 18, and then not long after that, they came out with a really cool screen. Mm-hmm. So one of these days I'll get another one.
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm just putting around in the old EcoBoost work truck, and then I bought a Rick Fox Special, as Joy calls it. Yeah, we got a Chevy with an LS in it.
Okay, there you go. Good old LS. Hop the thing up a little bit, throw a turbo on it, and go do some street racing.
Not yet. It's sitting over in the shop, and I'm afraid it might blow up. It has so many miles on it.
So, with being back in Oklahoma, I mean, we gotta get into a little bit of racing, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Might do some stuff.
Yeah.
Here and there. We'll have to see what comes of that. On down the line. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say about that right now.
I hear you. We were talking about something the other night. I can't remember what it was.
The 2-6 race.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a little bit. So back, what year was it that they did the 2-6 race down in Florida? I guess they did a couple of them.
They did two. Man, I'm horrible with years.
I guess 2008 ish, maybe 2009, somewhere in that era, I think, because pretty sure I would have been married already. And I think it was the first one that I made it to. But that was a pretty big deal back in the day. Like a pretty big money put up. I don't remember. Do you remember
Yeah.
what the
Oh, the
purse
first
was for
year.
that?
Yeah, the first year was it was 25,000 to win.
Wow.
I believe that's what it started at, or did it end up being 25?
Either
I think
way,
20. I'd have to go look at the T-shirt to get the year. But
either way,
yeah,
big enough
it was huge. Oh yeah, it was huge. A lot of guys brought trucks out for that. That's where because Marco from Mads or Smarty, and Bob Wagner, those guys were they kind of sponsored quite a bit of it, because that was when they were coming out with their up until that point the Smarty was kind of just like one tune, and then
that would have been really close to the time that they started coming out with Smarty UDC.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
kind of like EFI, but not quite. Didn't have data logging capability, some of that kind of stuff early on. Which
yeah, for sure.
They still, I believe they still sell some stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not involved enough in the tuning side of things to for sure know what all goes on there, but I believe they're still in that game some.
I think so. I think you are correct. But yeah, those guys put up quite a bit of money for it. And then that's also the first year was Seth and Micah they bought my old 12 valve truck, and they put a common rail in it with the standalone. That was the first.
Yeah.
That was the first diesel with a standalone in it, and Andrew from S&S wired it and put it all in the truck.
Okay. So
he wasn't with S&S at the time. He wasn't.
Okay. So standalone as in like still a factory ECU, but a standalone harness transplanted into second gen, or a Bosch? Okay.
A Bosch. Yeah. That was the first. I think that was the first Bosch. Unless Andrew knows way more about that kind of stuff.
Well, I remember, that was kind of the truck to beat coming into the race from what I remember. And didn't it have some kind of a fancy pump on it or something too? Or am I imagining things there? I don't know.
Yeah, that would be a Dan Scheid secret if it did.
Yeah.
Dan might tell me some stuff, but he won't give me a lot of secrets. But they brought it down. It was still white back then, and took it off the trailer, and I believe it ran 980s.
Okay.
Because that was a quarter mile race. And it was the fastest thing on the property.
Right. So, pretty much the rules for that were 2.6, like sled pulling legal turbo, pretty much.
2.6 turbocharger,
map groove stuff, and
and then 6,000 pounds was the weight. Yeah, it had to weigh 6,000 pounds. So it's kind of where when the NHRDA was still around, the Super Street stuff, kind of like that. Except for, I think in Super Street you could run twins.
Yeah, Super Street, I'm pretty sure was unlimited power. At least at the end it was. But 6,000 pound minimum. So, we think running our 4,500 pound stuff down the track is crazy right now. 6,000 pounds is absolutely crazy, but with the power we started putting through them at the end. But yeah,
it was nuts. Seth and Micah brought a truck and there was a Scheid engine. Aaron Nick, who won the race, was there. Jim Layden, Michael Pliska drove his truck.
Okay. Yep.
Phil Taylor was there. Will Jones was there. I don't remember.
Michael Cordova brought out that 2-wheel drive for
Cordova did.
That's really about the only time I remember that truck really making much of a race. Like I think from there it kind of at some point went to get reworked, and I don't know that it's ever seen the light of day since.
Yeah, I don't know where that truck is now. It was cool. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was there? I can't remember if Darren raced a truck in that race or if he was just there. I know he was there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, just thinking back on that race, like I remember there was a lot of untested trucks there. It seems like any time that the diesel guys put on some kind of big money or, new event, it brings out tons of new vehicles, and typical diesel fashion, everybody's like kind of last minute thrashing and untested and stuff.
Oh yeah. Nobody tested back then. We didn't go, we're gonna load up and go to Florida and test.
Yeah. We still have a hard time going. I mean, we try to go testing, but man, we don't get it done near as much as we'd like. But I just remember Cordova got down there and they couldn't get the turbo spooled, and they had some kind of a bolt together converter, which I believe was pretty new. Like that was almost an unheard of thing at the time. And so they were able to take the converter apart, but they didn't have a stator. And I believe overnight they ended up finding one at a junkyard or something, like a V10 converter.
Yeah, they went to a pick apart and got a converter out of a V10 truck, and then they cut it open with a Sawzall.
Cut it open with a Sawzall. Yep.
Yeah, we're high tech, man. I'm telling you, we're big time. Nobody had, like, everything showed up on like a gooseneck trailer or an open trailer. Or, we changed because it was a 2-day race, so back then you knew you were going to have to change a transmission, or you were going to blow a second gear band.
Mm-hmm.
So we rebuilt the transmission overnight. Yeah, the truck was just out in the lanes or on the return road on jack stands.
Yeah,
pulling transmissions out.
Good times. The things we used to do for fun, or the things we still do for fun sometimes.
Yeah,
when we could just sit in a chair and relax and still have fun, probably. But something about that.
Now I just sit around and drink beer and make fun of you guys. That's a lot more fun.
Yeah, there was a certain night that I remember you did particularly well at UCC, where we may have been in the middle of the night, and I think Cody was welding. And
poor Cody.
You got a hold of a wrench and
he was welding on you guys were changing to
sled pulling trim.
Yeah, you were putting all that stuff on to make that truck into a sled pulling truck.
Yeah.
And he was welding on something, and he was right by the argon bottle, and I went over with a crescent wrench and just smashed. And I don't think Cody was going to be around, or I don't think Cody was around for very long before that.
No,
he was pretty sure he wasn't going to be around much longer after that. But he stuck it out. Look at him now; he's a big time Instagram star.
There you go.
He's big time.
Yeah, you probably just didn't come around super much, so he decided to stay. But anyhow.
That's right. Yeah, I only show up every once in a while. Man, that seems that when you guys did that seems like forever and a day ago.
Oh yeah, it really does. I mean, it's crazy to think that. I mean, that was 2016. I think was the first. 2016 or 17 was. No, it would have been 16. I think was the first year of UCC. I mean, that's
in Utah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's when it was, because I think 14 and 15 we went to
Diesel Power Challenge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I remember you showed up there and like hung out with us in the hotel, and
that was when that was the first time I met Rick Fox.
You had your 3 small children with you in the van.
I did. Yeah.
That aren't so small anymore.
No, no. Remember Banan went over and watched cartoons with him on the DVD?
and Travis kept going, do I trust this?
Yeah. And then I can't remember what TV show there was going to be after that happened. There was a TV show coming on, and it was somebody I knew. Mm-hmm. And Joy told the kids that somebody famous that I knew was going to be on TV. And I remember Sarah said, "Is it Dad's redheaded friend Banan?"
Good time.
That all seems like so long. That was. I mean, I lived in Colorado then. I mean, but yeah, that seems like forever and a day ago.
Yeah, it's crazy how time flies. But yeah, cool. Well, I think we'll probably call this a wrap up for today. It was good chatting with you.
Yeah, man.
I think you've got things to do, and I've got kids to go home to because I think the wife ran off for the evening. So,
Oh, there you go. Yeah. We could have been talking longer, but Connor forgot his laptop at home.
Yeah.
Don't edit that out, Connor.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, man, this was cool. I'm always available to just tell lies on the internet. I'm good at that. So yeah, if I told a story and didn't mention your name,
you're sorry.
Feel free to call Firepunk tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
tell them about it.
There you go.
So, I forgot. I got to hang on. I was going to do this.
We got to do the hat.
Equal opportunity advertiser.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
D&J precision action.
Oh, I got a stack of hats over here. I could change hats every 30 seconds.
Oh man, you've been slacking on that one. That's rough.
I know. I forgot about it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was cool, man. I like it.
All right. Well, cool. Thank you for chatting, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you. If you get bored, you can come see us at Shide here next week.
That's been discussed. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it has definitely been brought up at the dinner table, and I've got the side eye a couple times. So
yeah,
we'll see how that works out.
That'll happen from time to time. So anyhow, all righty. Well, cool. We'll let you go, and thanks a lot.
Yeah, man. Holler at you.
Yep. See you.
See ya.